Hi, everybody. Welcome back to what is now the second session of meditation here in what we are calling the floating studio. So, the practice that we're going to do today is a body scan, and we're going to do a pretty detailed body scan. I'm going to give us a little bit more time than we usually have. Usually, the meditations I'm guiding are about 15 minutes or so. This might be slightly longer. And so, what is a body scan? Well, a body scan, and I think just looking at everybody here, everybody's probably done this before with me or yourself, but body scan is one of the best tools in your meditation toolkit. It's a foundational practice. It's one of the four pillars of mindfulness, along with mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of body, thoughts, and emotions. And so paying attention to the body is a really vital part of any good meditation practice. And there's some really good reasons for that, and I'll mention that in a moment. But basically, what we're doing in a body scan is we're just simply, it's quite simple really, paying attention to each part of the body one by one as we sort of move through the body systematically. Or this is one way to do a body scan. This is, if you've heard of Vipassana, if you heard like Vipassana meditation retreats, that's kind of what those retreats build up to, is this kind of technique. So there's nothing mystical about it. It's quite simple, but it's actually really quite difficult. So the aim of the game is to pay attention to the area that I'm going to say. I'm going to guide you through the body part by part. And what I'd like you to try and do as best you can is just keep your attention there. So when I say keep your attention there, all that means is let the sensations that you can feel in that area of the body be the main thing that you are aware of as best as possible. The main thing that you're moving your attention to. Keeping your attention there, and then to just feel as many sensations there as you possibly can. And so when I say sensations, that can be anything. That can be the feeling of the clothes against your skin. That can be the feeling of warmth or heat, or maybe you can feel like an aliveness and a tingling. If you feel into your hands right now, there's something, kind of ephemeral, like you can feel like tingling and movements. Whatever it is, just try and feel something from that area. And often you're going to find a place where you're like, I know I have an elbow, but I can't feel it, or wherever it might be. Maybe it's somewhere a little bit, somewhere else. But that's fine. If you find an area that you just like, I can't really feel any sensations there. That's okay. Just keep your attention there, and then move on to the next place. And we're just going to move through the body like that. And the reason this is so important as a practice and so helpful and beneficial and ultimately healing and brings a greater sense of like ease and flow into your body is because there's this huge amount of intelligence in the body all the time. The body is sending you signals about how it's doing, about what it wants, about what's happening next, where you're at, all the time. The challenge is that your body doesn't speak English. It's not telling you, hey, when you get hungry, that's a perfect example that we're all pretty familiar with. Hunger, is your body telling you, hey, maybe some food is needed, and you feel that. And that's quite like a loud signal, so it's a difficult one to ignore. But there's thousands of more subtle sound, like signals coming from the body, and that's all being sent up in the language of the body, which is just bodily sensations. So, something like stress would be an example of where those signals from the body are often not reaching the brain easily, not reaching the brain freely. And so there's this kind of disconnect between what the body wants. The body's in this agitated, hyperactive or mood, or maybe anxious, or maybe there's something like some like backgrounds or traumatic feeling going on, and then it's not actually arriving in the brain. And then that disconnect creates this sort of dissonance that we experience as internal mental noise and stress. So all we're doing is we're using our attention to pay attention to the body, and we are increasing that connectivity between literally the mind and body, which actually are kind of difficult to talk about separately. They are very, very interrelated. So we're basically increasing the integration of our own mind. And the cool thing with that is that you don't actually have to figure anything else out. It's not like you need to know how to interpret bodily sensations and know how to act on them necessarily. It's just that by paying attention to them, they become information available to your brain. Then your brain automatically does the work of optimizing based on that afterwards. So that was a bit whatever theoretical, but tangibly, all we're going to do is, like I said, move through the body, and just a couple of tricks. There's two things that you want to have in mind in this practice. And pretty much any practice that you do. On the one hand, the thing I already talked about, which is paying attention, the mindfulness, right? Trying to see the sensations as clearly as you can. And that is training this precision. We talk about this interoceptive precision in cognitive science, but that's increasing this bodily awareness. And then on the other hand, you want to see in a particular way. So what naturally our minds are conditioned to sort of push away or cling on to sensations. So you'll notice like a nice sensation, like relaxation. It's like, oh, that's kind of nice. And your mind sort of goes towards it. Or you notice like a pain or a discomfort. And it's like, ah, man, I want that one to go away. And you sort of push it away. And this sort of going towards and pushing away is what creates so much of the noise and vibration in the mind that we associate with being not at ease. And so you want to not only pay attention, but you want to try and pay attention in this accepting equanimous mode, right? Where equanimous is this technical term for a way of looking that isn't going towards or coming away from. And the only way that the way that you do that is quite simple. A good proxy for that is just being relaxed. Just stay relaxed. And when you feel the sensations, try to let them be there. Be accepting of them, not trying to push away the bad ones or hold on to the good ones. And in that way, work through the body. And that makes it kind of effortless, right? It's kind of easy. You're sort of not expecting anything. You're not trying to make your body better or make all the bad stuff go away. You're just seeing what's there. And there's a bunch of reasons, and there's so much to say as to why that combination is really powerful of this equanimity and mindfulness. But those two things together are the things that you want to sort of power in tandem. Sharp focus and sort of accepting ease in when you're doing it. So I hope that was clear. The only other trick, the only other tip that I think is good for this one is to, as best you can, when you're paying attention, you can sometimes have this sensation of like looking from up here in this control tower and looking down into your body. And you're like, oh, look, I can see the knee over there and I can see my foot over there. And that's fine. And that's natural because we have this feeling of being here. But if you can, just try and feel it from the body. And that's kind of difficult to grip intuitively what that might mean, but just see how that feels. See if you can feel the sensations from the body rather than looking down from your spotlight of attention. Cool. So hopefully that was clear. But if it wasn't, we're going to do it anyway, and you'll see what I mean, and we can always talk about it a little bit afterwards as well. So I'm not going to. So in traditional Vipassana, you literally draw out little centimeter by centimeter squares all over the body, and you do that square, then that square, then that square, then that square, and it's really, really hard, and it takes a long time. It can take you can imagine almost an hour or two to just do one scan of the body. So we're not going to quite do that, but we're still going to go quite detailed. So any area that I mentioned, just see if you can feel the sensation there. And the trick, another good trick here, is to just be curious, because what you'll find is we're going to go through the body, and you're probably going to get bored. You're probably going to get frustrated. You're probably going to get agitated. And when that happens, welcome it and accept it as part of the practice. That is part of what we're trying to do here, is trying to, let ourselves, focus back in even when the mind gets distracted. But a really good way to combat that and make it easier is to get really interested in the sensations. So you can ask yourself a question like, how do I know my eyebrow is there? What's giving me the evidence that my eyebrow is there? And then you pay attention. Little games like that, and just getting kind of geeking out on what it's like to be you. What does it feel like to have this body, and So yeah, if you get bored, get curious. Right, so if you haven't already, just take a moment to settle in. Whenever you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes. And just take a moment to get comfortable here. Deliberately relaxing your whole body. Letting go of any obvious tension. And before we jump in, let's just take a moment to remind ourselves that in these next minutes of practice, we're going to do our best to focus our attention on bodily sensations. Whatever else is happening today, after this, right now, we're locked in. We're going to just put all our intention behind focusing on bodily sensations. And we're going to enjoy it. Now begin to slow down the breath. Lengthening the inhales and the exhales. And just generally coming to a place of ease, stillness, and alertness. Good. Okay, so we'll start from the top of the head. And like I said, at every region, just do what you can to feel any sensation there. So we'll start by bringing our attention to the scalp. Noticing any little sensations in the scalp. Feeling of the hair on the head. Maybe there's some tension there, some tightness. Then we'll move our attention forward to the forehead. And see if is there any tension there? Is there anything we can feel? Then we'll head over to the right temple. Sensations in the right temple. And you might notice at this stage that there's lots of other stuff going on as well. There's thoughts, sensations all over. There's my voice. It's all kinds of things. And that's fine. We're not trying to make any of that stop. Our effort is just going towards feeling sensations in the area of the body that we're choosing. So we'll continue our journey to the back of the head. Feel the back of the head. This is an interesting one. Sometimes we feel like that's kind of where we are, somewhere behind the eyes, back of the head. So when we feel the back of the head, it can be fun to ask where we're feeling it from. Don't worry too much about that. Just feel any sensations in the back of the head. Continuing around to the left temple. That's the left eyebrow, coming into the eyebrow. We hold a lot of tension in the brow. If at any point you feel any discomfort or tension, see if you can just let it go. See if you can just let go and be more at ease. Moving over to the right eyebrow. Then down into the right eye, eyelid, the eyeball itself. What can you feel there? Also a strange place to be looking at, right? The eyes, since that's what we look with. Then we'll move to the nose. Might feel the sensations of breathing, air coming in and coming out. And we'll move to the left eye. Same thing here. If at any point this becomes quite uncomfortable as we continue to move through the body, you feel any intense discomfort or just something that you would rather not move your attention into, then don't. That's fine. Either skip that area or come back to the breath, or in the worst case, even just open your eyes and stop meditating. You're in control here. And moving down to the left cheek. Now the mouth and the lips. Got a lot of nerve receptors in the lips. So generally we can feel quite a lot there. That's why we like kissing. Then moving over to the right cheek. How do you know that your right cheek is there? You know it's there. Moving down into the chin and the jaw. Feeling that jawbone, that hinge in the jaw, where we keep a lot of tension often. How might you describe the sensations? It's a good way to draw the attention in. If you had to tell me in words what you're feeling, is it a pulsing, vibrating? And continuing to the tongue. Feeling the tongue in the mouth. It's kind of a weird thing. Moving to the throat. And the neck. And then continuing around to the back of the neck. Letting the neck relax, soften. You might notice sensations of the air in the room. Or maybe you can feel the collar of your clothes or your hair against the neck. We're not worried about finding the right sensations or picking them out perfectly. We just want to notice something in each area. Now I'd like you to just bring your attention to the head as a whole. Trying to feel everything that we felt up till now at the same time. Which of course is impossible, but just holding that intention to be aware of the head. And as you're aware of the whole head, Again, it can kind of be fun to ask, where am I aware of it from? Good. So now we're going to move down into the arms, starting with the right shoulder. You might feel the clothes. Just feel something there. And we'll speed things up a little bit, moving into the upper arm, moving down into the right elbow. What can you feel in the right elbow? And again, as you move through, you might notice places where it's fairly easy to feel sensations. Other places where there's discomfort and pain that you hadn't even noticed until you paid attention to it, which is part of the strength of this practice, is part of the healing potential of this practice. And then there's going to be places that you feel you're blind to, and all of that's fine. So continuing down into the right lower arm, forearm, then into the right palm of the hand. Just feeling the palm of the hand, any tingling, maybe a slight warmth, maybe the sensations of whatever your hand is resting on. And then moving through the fingers, just feeling the thumb, the pointer finger, the middle finger, the ring finger, and the pinky. Good. And then we'll just move over to the left hand and work our way up the left arm. Starting with the left hand, work your way through each finger. This might seem a bit tedious, right? And it is, in a way. It's quite challenging. A big part of what we're training here is just our ability to wield our attention with precision, with ease. So we're giving ourselves this training ground of trying to pay attention to one thing, then the next. And it's quite difficult. Our minds will wander, and you gotta come back. So hopefully you've felt something in each finger at this point. I'm feeling the palm of the left hand. Moving into the forearm. And just anything at all. It can be on the surface or in the inside. It can be something obvious like the air or the clothing, or something less obvious like a sense of space or tingling. Moving into the elbow, the upper arm, finally the shoulder, the left shoulder. As we know, we hold a lot of tension in the shoulders. So what can you find in the left shoulder? And now, just paying attention to both arms at once. Feeling both your arms there. Good job. So we're going to continue the journey down into the collarbone. You might feel the collar of your shirt or sweater against the skin there. Moving into the upper chest. Pectoral muscles. What can you feel there? Then moving our attention into the right armpit. It's not usually somewhere we think to pay attention to, but it's there. And into the upper back. Across the shoulder blades. And then into the left armpit. Then moving down into the belly. Belly is a great object of focus, just generally, because you can feel the breath there. Maybe can you notice the sensations of the inhale and the exhale in the belly. And at this point in the practice, don't be surprised if you feel some agitation or some impatience, or maybe your mind is wanting things to hurry along. That's completely normal. This is a training in some ways. We're going to keep going. So moving down into the right hip, the front of the hip, the outer hip. And moving down into the lower back. Maybe you can feel something just above the tailbone. Can you feel the tailbone itself? I find I always have some holding or clenching in that lower back tailbone area. Is there anything there you can let go of? Relax. Then into the left hip, the outer hip. Coming forward into the psoas in the front of the hip. Good job. So now just pay attention to your body from the hips up. Everything that we've done so far. The hips, belly, chest, shoulders, arms, and all the head. Notice how much is going on there. It's amazing. All these little signals, which were always there. So much. And just let yourself relax a little bit. Let your mind relax. This practice has a tendency to sort of have our minds clench up a little bit because we're trying to pay attention so keenly. Let it be easy. Let it be enjoyable. And remember to, as best you can, feel the sensations from the body, where they are. Coming into the final straight here, go into the left thigh. Feeling any sensations of the left thigh. You might feel sensations of pressure against the chair or the ground, or heat. Maybe you can feel your heartbeat. That's a good one for pretty much everywhere in the body. Moving into the left knee. The left calf. And the ankle. What can you feel in your left ankle? Then we're going to go for the bottom of the foot. And the top of the foot. And if you can, see if you can feel something in each individual toe. It's quite a bit harder than the fingers. And then we're going to move over to the right side, starting with the right thigh. Notice how straightforward it is to feel something in the thigh after you've tried to feel something in your pinky toe. Moving into the knee. Down to the calf. Maybe the right shin bone. Down into the ankle. And reminding ourselves to just see things as they are. Right? We're not trying to make things better or worse or change. We're just going to have a look and seeing what's there. Under the foot, top of the right foot, and then each individual toe as best you can. Nice work. So we'll just become aware of our body from the hips down now. Everything we just did, from the hips down to the toes. And then we're going to add the torso, the arms, the neck and the head. Feeling the entire body here now in space. Just allowing anything to be there. Noticing how rich it is. Like this cloud, this constellation of constant changing sensations. Fleeting impressions. All giving a rise to this impression of a body. So, seeing if you can just keep this background awareness of your body going as we transition out of the practice and back into the room, keeping it going. Whenever you're ready, open your eyes. Amazing work, everyone. That's not an easy practice, right? I kind of, we went for it there a little bit. It's pretty challenging going through each body part like that. You may have felt bored at times or agitated at times, or like, why the hell did I log on a Sunday to do this? But that difficulty is part of what makes it such a beneficial practice, right? It's simultaneously training our attention and focus of attention, whilst also having all these great benefits I talked about at the beginning of having a more interconnected body as a whole. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for spending a little bit of your Sunday morning with me and practicing. And hopefully see you next time or sometime in the future. And of course, if there's anybody that you think would like to join these sessions, this is open to everybody. So please just forward them the email, and I look forward to meeting them. And yeah, thanks very much. Happy Sunday, and see you soon.